You're listening to the Doctor Is In podcast, brought to you by MartinClinic.com. During the episode, the doctors share a lot of information. As awesome as the info may be, it is not intended to diagnose, cure, treat, or prevent any disease. It's strictly for informational purposes.
3 reasons why your thyroid tests are normal, even if you have thyroid symptoms. Now, I'd like to share a common story, and I'd like you to meet Jane. Jane's tired. She's not sleeping well, she's gaining weight, and she can't seem to lose it no matter what she does. She's also noticed that her hair is falling out a little bit more than before, her nails are weak, and her eyebrows seem thinner. Now, after doing a little bit of research, she's convinced that she has hypothyroidism. So she visits her doctor, tests are ordered, and everything comes back normal. How is it possible to have a lot of the sluggish thyroid symptoms and still have normal blood tests? Well, there are many reasons, but I'd like to share with you the 3 biggest ones. But first, it's important to understand that the thyroid is complex, and the thyroid is a puppet. Now, what we mean by that is simple. Your brain, specifically your hypothalamus and your pituitary, are involved before your thyroid even does anything. So your hypothalamus tells your pituitary gland to get your thyroid going. Now, many of you are familiar with the hormone TSH, which appropriately is just called thyroid stimulating hormone. So your pituitary will tell your thyroid to get going using a hormone, which is TSH, and then your thyroid will make a whole bunch of other hormones, specifically T4, T3, T2, T1, and calcitonin. But here's the thing. T3 is the active form. It's the one that influences all the cells in your body. But most of the hormones made by your thyroid are actually in the form of T4. And then T4 has to be converted into T3. So the point that I want to make very quickly is that you can see all the moving parts that go on with your thyroid is expected to function normal. A problem in any of those areas, in your hypothalamus, in your pituitary, or in how you convert T4 to T3, all those things can have an effect on how your thyroid functions. But here are the 3 biggest reasons why your tests are normal, even if you have thyroid symptoms. So here's number 1. And I want to share with you this quickly. Ricin is a poison that's found naturally in castor beans, and it's possibly the most deadly poison on the planet. In fact, a dosage the size of a grain of rice, so a tiny grain of rice, is enough to kill you. And here's why I'm telling you that, is because your thyroid is tiny as well. In fact, it weighs less than 25 grams. Now, a AA battery weighs 24 grams. So that's the weight of your thyroid. Just to give you an idea how tiny it is, it's 25 grams. Even though it's tiny, it has a direct influence on every cell in your body. You need a healthy thyroid to have energy, to have a normal metabolism, healthy skin, healthy hair, normal brain, etc. Which means you would think that your thyroid has to produce a lot of hormones to keep your body running normally. So you would imagine that throughout the year, your thyroid just makes so much thyroid hormone. But it doesn't. Your thyroid is extremely powerful, which is why your thyroid gland only secretes about 1 teaspoon of thyroid hormone over a full year. Now think about that for a second. It controls every cell in your body, and yet over a full year, it only secretes about 1 teaspoon of thyroid hormones over a full year. So that's incredible to think about. So you can see why your thyroid is virtually impossible to test properly, because a microscopic change, the tiniest microscopic change, can cause hair loss, fatigue, exhaustion, weight gain, cold hands, cold feet, depression, dry skin, muscle cramps, constipation, and on and on and on. So that's the first cause. Your thyroid is tiny, and a slight change can have drastic effect on you. Here's the second reason. It's called subclinical hypothyroidism. Now, subclinical, basically, all that means is it's and this is straight from Dr. Google. It's anything relating or denoting a disease which is not severe enough to present definite or readily observable symptoms. So here's the thing. Subclinical hypothyroidism can exist for 7 years before lab numbers are affected, which means you can have thyroid symptoms for 7 years before anything shows up on blood testing. 7 years of fatigue, 7 years of weight gain, 7 years of poor sleep. And should you have to suffer with these symptoms for that long, just waiting for your numbers to change? Now that sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But that's exactly what many women experience when their thyroid starts to slow down. So why does it take so long for blood numbers to change? Well, it's because of something called receptor site sensitivity. Now, receptor site sensitivity is very simple. Every cell in your body has various receptors for the different hormones you make. Just think of them as little antennas. So your cell receptors are like little mini antennas, and they transmit the signal from outside of the cell to inside of the cell. So for any hormone to work, your receptors have to pick up the hormone signal and pass it into the cell. Well, what happens if those receptors aren't working properly? Well, when this happens, you can have a normal amount of a hormone circulating in your blood, but the hormone isn't having the same effect on your cells as they should be. This is the big reason why you can have all the symptoms of a sluggish thyroid and still have normal blood tests. You have enough of the hormone for now, but the hormone isn't having the same effect on your cells. So your tests are normal. And here's the third reasons why you can have normal testing and have thyroid symptoms. And it's something that we call the metabolic storm. And this is it. This is the reason why many women with chronic thyroid problems have normal testing. It's because you just don't have a thyroid problem. Instead, you have 3 hormone-producing glands that are broken, and they affect every system in your body. When you're in the metabolic storm, you have problems with your thyroid, your adrenals, and your ovaries. All 3 of them are involved, and it's because of the way that they are connected. See, your thyroid can affect your adrenals, and your adrenals can affect your thyroid and your ovaries, and they're all connected. A problem in your adrenals can eventually affect your ovaries and eventually affect your thyroid, which is why you can have thyroid symptoms, but your testing's normal because your problem is actually coming from your adrenals, or vice versa. All 3 of them are involved. So when one of them doesn't work properly, it drags the others with them, which is another reason why you can have thyroid symptoms and have normal blood work. And for more information on the metabolic storm, we have obviously a free program on our website. Just go to our martinclinic.com, and you could sign up for a free video course on the metabolic storm and how to get out of the metabolic storm. Now, I hope you found this information helpful, because we understand that the thyroid is extremely frustrating for many women because they can't get the results they're looking for on testing, and it just drives them crazy. So I hope this helped. Thanks. Have a great day.
You've reached the end of another Doctor is In podcast with your hosts, Dr. Martin Jr. and Sr. Be sure to catch our next episode, and thanks for listening.